Welcome to Threadhead TV. This is Jude Bell. Thank you for joining me for today's project, which is how to make a heart wreath that is worthy of your front door. This is truly the most luxe heart wreath you will find anywhere. Google heart wreaths and I think you'll agree with me that you won't find one this beautiful and professional looking. Its beauty comes from the red velvet fabric used, which is juxtaposed with the dyed pink and red cotton fabric. You can knock this out in a couple hours. It's easy to make, especially since I figured out a shortcut for you, so stay tuned. Step 1. Start by making the pattern for your base. Mine turned out to be 24 inches wide at its widest spot and 20 inches tall, and this was the perfect size for my front door. Fold your paper pattern in half to get a perfectly symmetrical heart. Then cut the heart so that it is about 3 inches wide as shown here. Make sure you like the size by holding up your heart to your front door or wherever you plan on hanging it. I love a big, bold, luxurious wreath if I'm going to have one, and especially if I'm going to invest my time and energy to make one. My advice, don't dink around with the small styrofoam wreaths that they have at the craft store. So this is the step you get to skip. I'm showing it to you because I don't want you to have to spend the time it took me to see that this method was not going to allow my heart to hang properly. You don't want a cardboard backing showing because then it will look homemade. So I opted to make my heart backing out of 2 layers of felt stabilized on the inside with plastic from worn out placemats and some heavy canvas material to give it extra heft. Well, as you will see, it buckled with the weight of the ruffle and would not hang flat, as you can see here. So a flexible plastic insert is not a sturdy enough base. So your step 2 is to cut out your base from cardboard. I recommend cutting 2 of these cardboard hearts so you can layer them one on top of the other with the strong tape. I already have my alternative base made prior to this, so 1 cardboard layer was sufficient for me. Step 3, make strips out of red felt or fabric. It doesn't matter how wide your strips are or if they're crooked on one side, this is your backing and it will not show. I'm using my hot glue gun only at the start and the end of each strip. After you're done wrapping your base, tie a hanger at the top before gluing your ruffle on. I like the look of a tulle ribbon to hang it. Sorry, I did not show it here, but I doubled up the tulle ribbon to make a stronger hanger. I did not do this, but I think even a tulle bow at the top of your hanger would look really pretty. Step 4, make your strips for the ruffle. I cut mine 6.5 inches wide so that I would have approximately 5.5 inch wide ruffle when I was done sewing it. And I had 2 strips that were about 1 3/4 yards long. So after sewing these strips together, it made 1 continuous long strip of about 3.5 yards. Press your seams open on these strips and then put the strips right sides together and sew down the length of the strip on both sides as shown here. Now velvet is kind of tricky, so I was really having to kind of pull it tight because it was making my fabric want to shift around a lot. But it doesn't really matter because this is a wreath and it's not a garment, so it didn't matter if there was a little bit of puckering on the edges or if it was a little bit uneven, as you can see here. Once I was done sewing the edges and I turned it right side out, I ironed it lightly on the cotton side. I turned the raw edges of one end to the inside and top stitched to finish it off. I left the other end open because I wasn't sure if I would need to add more length. I would need to figure this out after seeing how long my final ruffle was. And as it turned out, I didn't need to add any more length, which was great. Step 6 is the ruffling step. I have a ruffle foot here, which I actually am only using to hold down my fabric, and I'm hand ruffling it. I don't know if you can tell that I'm doing that. But if you don't have a ruffle foot, you're going to need something to sort of hold your fabric down while you push it in and ruffle it by hand. Or you can just use a normal presser foot and go very slowly to do one little ruffle at a time to shove it underneath the presser foot. I decided that with my daughter's help, right, Annika? that we were gonna make it do this twist to make it pink and red. See, what would I do without you?
Thank you. This is a really nice fabric.
Yeah, which part do you like?
I like the dark red part because it's really soft and fuzzy, and then I like this part because I just sort of like the design colors.
Cool. And the final step is to hot glue your ruffle onto your base. And you are done. This camera does not do justice to how gorgeous these colors truly are, but you can see them at the end. I hope this inspires you to do something similar this Valentine's Day. Thanks for joining me on Threadhead TV. Come on back for more great projects.